Alright, hello there. Today I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to delid a i7-47K Intel processor. Reason you might want to do this is because the thermal paste that they put on the inside of the processor before they ship it sucks. Intel kind of dropped the ball there. They used to use fluxless solder on all the previous incarnations of these processors on the first and second generation i7s and i5s and all that stuff. On these ones they decided that they were going to do, or take the lazy route and do a bad thing and pretty much put just cheap thermal paste on there, which really does not work very well at all. And if you check your core temps, they're generally going to be, a big difference between each core. Between your hottest core and your lowest core is going to be like a huge difference of maybe 10 to 20 to 30 even sometimes. So the reason for that is poor contact between the integrated heat spreader and the die itself, which if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you will get a better idea once I get the top off this thing. And if you don't know what delidding is, then, well, look it up, I guess. I mean, you'll see with the video. But things you're going to need for this, one would be a anesthetic wrist strap like I have right now. So this will actually keep you grounded so you don't, statically shock the processor, which can happen even if you don't hear it or see it. You can still actually break some of the sensitive components in the processor, which you don't want to do. So either get a grounded wrist strap like this one, or you can go ahead and take a shoe off and a sock off and put your foot on a piece of metal or the desk or something that's grounded, and then you'll be okay. Same type of thing. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this out of here. Out of this little case here, so pretty much brand new here. Have tested it to make sure that it is in fact working and not a broken piece of shit processor, but as you can see on there, i7-4770K. Yep, nothing. I'm not lying about anything. No secrets. Now, the thing about doing this, you want to pay attention to how far you're putting the. We're going to use the razor blade method. If I haven't already said that already, which I haven't. Also, rubber gloves help to keep your hands from being cut, and give you a better grip. Anyway. The important thing here is you want to not cut in too deeply on this side here, because this is where some VRMs and things are that you don't want to mess with. If you cut those, then you're going to be in a problem. The other thing about doing this is when you're using your razor blade, which other item you're going to need, nice razor blade, you want to kind of wipe it off a little bit so you don't get any oil that might be on the razor blade for its manufacturer on the processor itself. And the other thing is you don't want to, and you want to be really careful on that side. If you push it in too far, you'll hurt something. But anyway, when you're putting it in each side, it's very delicate. Sorry, I'm trying to find, there I am. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to angle it slightly when you're putting it in, just ever so slightly. See how I'm not really even with the board, but I'm not too far. You want to angle it slightly, and you want to push, and you want to push. Put some strength into it, but not a ton. And I'm starting, you can see I'm starting with this bottom right corner, the bottom right corner of the CPU. I'm not starting with this side, because this side's going to be a little bit rough. And you want to be really careful up here. It's a lot easier to get going once you actually get one corner. And it's actually really easy to do, if I can get this into frame. There we go. So what you're going to do is you're going to get in there and you're going to shove and push, and you're going to just keep pushing a little ways until you get it in, nice and deep. And you want to be careful and you want to go slow. You don't want to take your razor and go back and forth with it. If you do that, you're going to cut the crap out of your PCB. You don't want to do that. The other thing is you don't want to put it in there and then wedge and kind of try to pull it off, because what will happen is you'll start to bend the PCB, and you don't want to do that either. If you do bend it a little, not a huge deal. You're not going to do anything too bad by doing that. But as you can see here, I haven't really put any scratches in this at all, just by doing that. So I can't really get this to focus, but if it did, you can see there's no scratches on there really. There's a little bit of smudging, but that's okay. Even if you do get a little bit of scratch in there, you'll actually be okay. I'm actually going to zoom out, because this is just getting, oh, that's in, here we go. I'm going to zoom out because it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing and trying to find the damn camera. If I want it closer, I'll just put it up there, damn it. Okay, so anyway, so I'm doing the same thing on the next corner. Again, slightly angle the blade and just kind of push. Sometimes it takes a lot of force to actually get it going, especially this top right corner. I've noticed on these that the top right corner is particularly tough. I think they do like a double on that one. Like they like doubly freaking do it on that side. But if one corner is really, really tight, again, you can do another corner. So I'm going to move to this bottom left corner. And again, being very careful of like the VRMs that are up there. I'm just going to slide it in, and it slides pretty much right in there. And once you're in there, you just kind of, you know, pushing in a little bit at a time. And you keep going. You want to be real careful that you're not getting your razor blade too far on either side, and that you're not really moving it back and forth. If you move it back and forth, that's when you're going to start cutting into the PCB, and that's bad. But as you can see, I've kind of gotten this through to the point where I'm actually, this whole side is now disconnected from the PCB. So my razor blade will go in there, you know, just like that, real easy, not a big deal. And this is not taking me a whole lot of time. You should take your time with this, especially if it's the first time you're doing it, because it's very delicate. It's very delicate, and I know I'm shaking a little bit as I'm pushing this down because there's a lot of force involved, but I'm trying to hold myself back. But, you know, you really, really want to be careful. Don't go in too far or too deep on any one particular side. But as you can see, once you get one side off or in a corner off, it gets just easier and easier as you go. So I've got this side pretty much off over here, and now I'm going to go back here. Here we go. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to try to wedge it in, and it's really stuck in there really good. So yeah, I'm going to have to try to get up under this little tab here, and I'm going to have to try to push in from the side there. And again, your die is like right in the middle there. It's actually long ways right here, so you want to be real careful going in, but this shouldn't be too bad. That corner is just really on there tight, so I'm going to have to try to start doing this side. So I'm going to start up on here now, and I'm going to try to wedge it in. Ugh, this whole top part is just rough. Okay, so moving back this way, and I pull my chair up so I can it's extra hard doing this while making a video. So here we go. I'm going to start going on this side again and making some progress. If you get to a spot where you can't make progress, I guess that's the biggest thing, is if you can't make any more progress with, you know, just without like getting angry at it, then that's a good time for you to go, okay, I need to stop and just kind of let off a little bit, and then just start somewhere else for a minute. So moving along here, and now I'm being real careful on this side again, because again, your VRMs are right up in here. So you want to be real careful of those. If you nick those, you're pretty much done. So I'm being real careful about getting in there, but I'm just about done with getting this off. For the most part, should be pretty close to coming off. Oh, there we go. See, now, now that I got more off, I can slip into this top corner pretty easily. There we go. And from here, we're going to just work our way around the top. Just slowly working the way. No rush, all the time in the world. There we go. And that should pretty much have done it right there. Once you've gotten it all the way around, you'll kind of be able to twist it a little bit, and you'll be able to kind of just pull it. And once you can start pulling it off like I'm doing, you should be good. Yep, and there it goes. So, oh, shouldn't really blow on it, but I am, because I'm just trying to get a little bit of stuff off there. But yeah, so there it is. Nice delidded i747K. Here I am. Okay, anyway, so here's your i747K. This is my friend Jeremy's chip, so thank you to him for letting me fucking break his chip. Hopefully it's not broken. Honestly, this looks really good. This is probably one of the best jobs I've done doing this, and I've done a few. So yeah, this actually came off real nice and easy. Some are a little bit more tough. You can see why, like right here, there's a lot of built up stuff. Now, the next step with this is A, be careful with it. But you know, the chip itself is actually really light, so it's kind of cool once you get this piece off. Like this entire thing is where all the weight is. But the next step here is you can take your razor blade, and you see how it got all this black stuff on here. What you want to do is try to get all that off. Now there's two options on how to do that. You can either be cool like me and use a Dremel, or you can use a fingernail, or you can take your razor blade, you know, there we go, and you can just kind of scrape, just scrape. That's all you gotta do. It's just light scraping. I'm trying to show this, but it's getting hard. But you know, light scraping with the razor blade, and the stuff comes right off. Here we go again. Just taking one side here, scraping lightly, and stuff just comes right off of there. And you want to get it, you know, nice and smooth. So don't just scrape just the parts on the sides here, because you want to get as much off as possible, and you want it to be as smooth as possible because you want it to make the best contact that it possibly can with your PCB or with your die. So this thing called the IHS needs to be as smooth as it can be. I don't know how many times I can say that, but you want it as smooth as it can be on the sides so that it makes a nice even contact with your motherboard. And you can see I'm just going ahead, scraping, 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 scraping. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Not very difficult. If you wanted to go forward in the tape a little bit, I'll get to where I'm starting, where I take the, I'll get to the part where I'm taking the material off the PCB itself, because it also has to come off there, and don't forget about that. Also, all this excess old heat stuff, this old paste that's dried out and gross and has absolutely no purpose anymore, the stuff that, you know, is cheap and should be, you know, banned from Intel's frickin' assembly lines. All that stuff, you can just wipe that off with a paper towel. Another thing that you're going to want to need, I probably should have listed all the stuff you're going to need prior to starting the damn video, blah, blah. And I had the intent of doing that, but as you know, I started doing this, I was like, I'm in a hurry because my friend was about to go on a fucking airplane flight somewhere, and I kind of want to make sure that I can test this. I don't want it sitting around my house the whole day or for like a week without him knowing if it works or not, or without me knowing if it works or not, because I don't have another machine readily available that I can just pop it in. So you can take a paper towel, which I've got a whole freaking roll of paper towels. Select a sheet, you know, works great. Anyway, take your paper towel and you just kind of take your paper towel with your fingernail behind it and just freaking scrape that stuff off there. And what you should get is either some acetone and pure alcohol, or you can order a kit which has those things in it called Arctic Clean. There's a couple other ones out there as well. Types of stuff that basically is meant for removing thermal paste. Here's the CPU again, but as you can see, I'm just getting all this wiped off. No big deal there, nice and clean. The black on the inside, as long as it's nice and flush with the top, really doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt anything at all. You can try to get it off there with your finger, or you might use a Dremel at some point. Those are other options or ways to get it off there. Your finger also works really well for getting the excess what's it called, epoxy off the sides of the chip, because you can actually feel a little better with your fingernail than you can with a razor blade anyway. So if you go over it with your fingernail also, not a bad idea. If you are going to use a Dremel, it helps to have a cup full of isopropyl alcohol nearby, because otherwise the stuff will just kind of bind up on your polishing wheel that you'll be using with your Dremel. So you want to use the alcohol to dampen up the polisher on the Dremel, and then you'll just get off there. And then you'll just sorry, I'm not really doing a good job of showing, but you'll you'll use the isopropyl alcohol on the Dremel tool to stop the epoxy from just binding up on it and ruining your polishing brush right away. But so there you go, is a fairly cleaned out die. With just wiping the paste off, you can tell it's very, very shiny. It's got a very good mirror finish on it, which is, you know, really good, because that means that it's very, very smooth. And that's what you want, is a very smooth PCB. You know, be very careful working around these VRMs here. These are the ones I was talking about before. If you were looking at it with the writing showing you, this is how it would look pretty much, like this. Now, to get this other epoxy off there, easiest thing to do is take your thumbnail, fingernail, whatever, and you just do that. You just scrape it off, that's it. You can use a razor blade if you are confident. I'm kind of confident, so I might do it in a minute to you know, help with getting it all off, because that'll be certainly a lot quicker. But you want to get off as much of that as possible, and just by using your thumb or finger. Kind of hurting my hand after a minute here. Trying to find this freaking part of the camera. Okay, so yeah, just going ahead and scraping it off, It's not really exciting work by any means, and I'm not gonna sit here and do the whole thing perfectly. Then again, maybe I will. I don't know. It depends on how I feel, I guess. But once you get all the black stuff off, here's what you can do. You'll take your, I'm using Arctic Clean here, which is nice, and it's pretty much acetone, which is, you know, a lot like nail polish. You'll take a clean paper towel, and you'll just put, you know, one little drop of acetone on there, or clean solution, whatever you're using, and just let it sit on there, and then you just wipe. And you can see it actually comes off a lot grayer. It's kind of hard to tell, but it comes off gray because it's getting all that extra paste off. And you're just using that, rubbing it off a bit, trying to get all the stuff off there that you possibly can. Make sure you like go off into the sides of the processor and get everything off that you possibly can, just because. So you can see here it actually turned a bit gray. There, maybe, I can't see. Yeah, there it is. You can tell it's gray because there's this thermal paste on there still. And that's what the acetone does, is it really helps to break things up and get all that off there. The next thing I'm going to use is the, you know, basically it's pure alcohol. That's all this is. They call it thermal surface purifier, but it's pure alcohol is all it is. So you put a drop of that on there, because it'll look a little bit cloudy. And where am I? It'll look a little bit cloudy when you just put the acetone on there. But once you put the alcohol on there, it'll actually clear that off, and it'll dissolve fairly rapidly, and it'll look nice and shiny like it does right about now. Yeah, look at that. It's fucking mirror finish. That's what I'm talking about, man. Okay, so anyway, get that on there, got that nice and cleaned off. You don't want to touch it with your finger, because if you touch it with your finger, you're getting finger oil on there, and that's going to provide a thermal barrier pretty much. So you don't want to do that. And I recommend keeping this little plastic thing, because it makes a great little case for you to keep your processor in once you're done with delidding it. So I'm going to put it in there. And now for the heat spreader, exact same thing that we just did with the acetone solution and the alcohol. We're going to take it. You can be a little bit more liberal with this as far as the acetone and the alcohol goes, because it's just a piece of metal, and you want to get all the stuff that you possibly can off of it. So I'll give it a good nice clean, real nice clean, get it all frickin' off there. Blah blah blah, there it goes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And once you get all that off there, then you're pretty much good to go. See, it's nice and clean, actually a lot cleaner than it was. And then, for good measure, you take your isopropyl alcohol, drop that on there, take your other clean paper towel, I think it was actually this one, and then you're going to just wipe it down real good. And that pretty much does it, my friends. That is it. So you got a nice cleaned off IHS. You're still going to have like kind of an outline on there, unless you use a Dremel. If you use a Dremel and polish it, which I probably will, you actually can get that whole outline off there, because it's kind of just, you know, melted in there the way frickin' Intel does it. But yeah, you can actually even take this while you have it off. It's actually a good time if you're going to lap your processor. Obviously, it's a good time to do it because you already have this off, so it's a lot easier to do this, and you have less chance of damaging the processor itself. So if you're going to lap, I would recommend doing it now. I mean, if there's some sandpaper of different varying grits, you can get from an automotive store, because those have the higher grits, and you'll take that and you'll just put it down in there with some water, and then just rub it, you know, in circles, actually not really circles, but up, down, left, right, and then turn it up, down, left, right, turn it up, down, left, right. There's different ways of doing it. You can look that up anywhere, but that's pretty much how you would lap it. But yeah, still, you know, pretty quick, pretty easy guide on getting this processor delidded and ready to go. From here, you want to put on your thermal paste. I recommend Liquid Ultra. If you don't have any, it's not that expensive. I think it's 20 bucks, and it works amazingly well. I've tried this with Arctic Silver 5, MX4, and another one I can't remember the name of. But I tried it with the different pastes, and they all suck compared to Liquid Pro. Liquid Pro, I'm not saying Liquid Pro is the best paste out there, because for like other applications, it's only about a degree or two off difference. But as far as processors go, or just on the die, the difference is about 20 Celsius is from what I noticed. It was about 20 to 30 Celsius when you use Liquid Pro compared to the other ones. Also with the Arctic 5 and the MX4, especially MX4, I had to reapply it fairly frequently because the temperatures would keep changing and going up higher. And I know there's a cure time, and I waited the cure time, and after a week the MX4 was broken down and it wasn't conducting very well at all. But the Arctic 5 was still doing okay, just not nearly as good as the Liquid Pro is. On my current machine I have right here in front of me, I've got the Liquid Pro on it, and the temperatures at idle are about 27 to 29, and under load a max of 65, and I've got it overclocked to 4.5 gigs. So really, really, really good for the Liquid Pro on the die. The rest you can just use regular Arctic 5, MX4, or whatever kind of paste you want to use. You could use mayonnaise, you just have to change it out fairly frequently. There's a whole frickin' article on that. Anyway, that's all I have for this. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or whatever, go ahead and put those on the bottom. Also, like, subscribe if you like my videos, or if you want to check out my other stuff. Do a lot of stuff with Cheat Engine and playing games and all that kind of stuff, so feel free to check that out. It really helps me out, lets me, spend money to do more videos like this. Pretty much that's it though. Thanks.